Welcome to the alternate corner, where real criminal trials take center stage and the pursuit of justice is our guiding principle. Here, we believe that every defendant is innocent unless proven guilty, and we invite you to experience the legal process as it unfolds fairly, thoroughly, and objectively. Join us as we shed light on the courtroom, uphold the presumption of innocence, and seek the truth behind every case. Subscribe to stay informed, engaged, and empowered in the world of justice.
Hello. Could you hear that intro? Because I couldn't hear a damn thing. Did anyone hear anything? Because I couldn't hear anything on it. Or was it just my side? Anyway, good morning to you, Just Jugs. Hello to you, my darling. Morning to the CG. First one with a thumbs up. Happy days. Everyone loves a good thumbs up. Sarah P's in the house. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining from Sarah P. So thank you, Sarah. Hope you're doing well. Spacey State. Fuck. Echo. Shit. Hang on. Ah, fuck. Right. Hang on. Let me try and figure this out. We can hear the intro, but not. Fuck. Hang on.
The alternate corner, where real criminal trials take center stage.
Right, how's that now? Is that... Oh, shit. How is that now? Is that better? Oh, no. Oh, shit, no, hang on. That should be better. That now should be better. I think I had the webcam on as well. Hello. Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me now? I couldn't hear the intro at all. Yeah, do you know what? I had the webcam audio on and this audio on, but I can't hear the intro whatsoever, so that worries me a bit. Okay, no, my things are working, but I don't understand it. Anyway, hello. How is Cheating Stacey? How are you doing, my darling? KD, hello. KD, remind me when Josie comes. Her husband Nate has started a new YouTube show for cards. She'll post a link for you to follow, because I know your husband likes the cards as well, breaking cards. So we'll all, when Josie comes, she'll post the link and we can support her husband in his quest. And I loved them. I loved his videos. They're short, they are, and they're good. I think they're very well made. She's got him well trained, shall we say. Anyway, back to this for a second till Josie does come in. Much better. Now it's better. All good now and no echo. Happy days. Good morning, Sarah P. If you'd like to support the channel. Do you know what? So I'm on Streamlabs and I cannot pin anything. So that sucks. So that's not good. I was going to say I can't suck. No, I can't suck. But I can't pin anything. So this is no longer StreamYard. This is Streamlabs. Hence why I am messing up all the time. But it's all good though. Bad Daz is in the house. How you doing, fella? Bad Daz has sent me a lovely video of a pair of tits on the weekend. Thank you, Bad Daz. I did appreciate it. It did wake me up. Wake me up before you go. Bad Daz I like sending go. Bad Daz, afternoon. Bad Daz, yes please. KD wants it as well, Bad Daz. Yes, Josie will be here in a little bit. So when she's here, if not, then I will just post it. It's fine. But when you see her in the chat, remind her to post the link so we can all follow him. So, Lightning Leaf, hello stranger. How are you, Lightning Leaf? Not seen Lightning Leaf for a while. Hope you're doing well. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you all had a good weekend. So, I'm going to do a short stream today, by the way. It's going to probably be a couple of hours, but that's it. Because I got some family time to do this afternoon, so I can't spend too much time. Tomorrow, I might be streaming. I don't know yet. I have got a doctor's appointment about my sinus surgery, so I don't know how long that's going to last. I know how long I normally last, but they might last longer. So I don't know. I'm not sure because my appointment's at 10 o'clock Eastern. So I don't know if I'll do tomorrow. If not, I'll do Wednesday anyway. Lightning Leaf, that is such a distinguished name that I remember Lightning Leaf. Don't you worry at all. I remember the name Lightning Leaf. It's one of those names you don't forget, you know. So yeah, hope you are well though. Hope everybody's doing well, as I say. You know, it has been a bit though, Lightning Leaf. It has been a bit. It's been a long time, but it's all good though. It's all good. We all need to take time away and do other stuff as well. But it's always nice to see people pop in and say hello as well. It is lovely. I just got done working out. I can barely walk. Need coffee. Need water. I'm a mess this morning. Don't worry about it, KD. Right, hang on. I need to go get my coffee. It's brewing. I'll be back now. 2 seconds. Hang on. Let me wash my hands. So what happened was I was going to make coffee this morning and I forgot to press the friggin' go button and I've still got a little bit of it left. This way up, afternoon sir, how are you? Hope you're doing well. I had my weigh-in this morning, lost another 2.5 pounds this morning, so I've lost about, I think 16 pounds in the last month, which is not bad, is it? Not bad. Right. I need to do one thing before we get going with this. As I say, this is going to be a little bit different today. We're going to go through some we're going to go through some things that are happening in the world. That's a thimble with a handle. You need a pint mug. So I got this thermal and I got the Starbucks, but it's full. But this This is my coffee colour. Do you know what I mean? Coffee colour. Thank you, Stacey. I had a big roast dinner yesterday, which means that's why I probably didn't lose more. Right, let me post this on Facebook and say that we're live to see if we can get some people here. Because according to my one, I've only got 7 people here. Whoa, 7 people. Shit. Right, hang on. I had a big roast dinner yesterday, which means no, there's 10. There you go. Right, let me. Thank you, Jugs. Right, and how do I copy link? Right, then Facebook. Oh shit! Hang on, this might be a phone call for me. Morning, Sue. How are you, my darling? Nice to see you. Hang on. You see, normally people will have done all this before. So if you were a professional streamer, then this would have been done well before now. But as you know, I'm not a professional streamer. So this is why I've been streaming for nearly 12 minutes and it's only now I'm posting it out. Because that's the way we roll. That was a home phone, yes. So I got a home phone and this. I never use a home phone. Everything's on my mobile. But there are a few things that still I have to keep the home phone because for our like hospital stuff, they want 2 numbers. So I got a home phone and this. And I don't normally have a home phone, but here we have some use for it. Okay, I sort of posted it, but it won't go. Right, it still won't post, motherfucker. Why is he not posting? I don't get it. What is Facebook slow for anybody else? Last few days, every time I go and post stuff, it just takes forever to post. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's all good. Okay. Yeah, home phone it's normally the home phone. It's either what do you call it? Calls. Those kind of people want to sell you stuff. But also, I don't know about you guys, but I have family members in the 70s, 80s that don't have mobile phones, so they only have phones, so they only know how to ring 2 other phones as well. So, like my uncle who died a few years ago, he had 2 uncles actually. They never owned a mobile phone or anything. Do you know what I mean? So. I don't know why this is glitching. I don't know why it's glitching. But anyway, before we start anything, the Patriots, next week, next Sunday, Patriots. Let's go. Super Bowl. Warriors. Right, let me share into the alternate corner group. Alternate corner, next. Share now. I'll just leave it like that. Because it's going to be a quick stream anyway, so I don't need to do too many things. Okay, that's done. Get out. I trust Bad Daz has probably posted on X because he's good like that. Right, so we're starting. So as I say, this is the morning show. We will do something today. We'll just do a little chitty chat. So first case I wanted to show you. Most of these cases they're ongoing. First one is in North Carolina. So we got Just Jugs country. Marilyn's country, Jersey Jen's country. It is about I think he's 15 years old. He killed 5 people in a random neighborhood shooting spree. And yeah, so I thought I'll give you a brief overview of it through law and crime. I've never heard about this. I'd never heard about this case, so I thought, I thought we'd show this for you now. So this is the background of it. This teenager, and let me make myself smaller. You do have so many names: Jersey Jen, Just Jugs, Marilyn, whatever bad dads are called you next. It's loads of them. Right, so here we go. I will play you this. I'm not sure, Jugs, if you know about this case or not, but yeah, I'll speak about it in a second, but here we go. This is the backstory of it.
It's another person. How could you do that to another person? How could one person do that to another? I don't know what was going through his mind. I don't know. I just can't believe it. Just can't believe it was him, especially 15-year-old with a shotgun.
More than 2 years since police say this teen opened fire on his own neighbors, even killing his own brother. For the first time, we see Austin Thompson in North Carolina court. But the wait for justice.
His own brother as well. Fuck. 15 years old. He kills 5 people, including his own brother. Shit. Okay.
For the alleged victims of Austin Thompson will have to wait until at least 2026 after a judge's ruling in North Carolina court on Friday. Before we get to why this trial is being pushed back until next year, let's go back to October 13th, 2022 and how we got to this point. Police say on that day, the 15-year-old alleged shooter, Austin Thompson, first shot and killed his own brother, 16-year-old James. Here's a pic of them together per local TV station WRAL. He then allegedly killed 4 more people in his neighborhood. One of the victims was 52-year-old Nicole Connors and her dog on her porch. Here's what her husband, Tracy Howard, told the Associated Press in 2022.
She was just a kind person. She was a good person. She didn't deserve anything like this.
Of her and Sammy?
No one does, really, but, she's a good person.
So, this way up, my mic is now back. It was lower than the video, yes, but now it's back up, same as the video. It should be not low anymore. It should be fine now. Are you all hearing that okay? Is this okay? I do not know this case. No, I'd never heard of it. I'd never heard of it until today. So, is it still low, people? I'll wait for people to catch up, but it doesn't really matter. We'll play the video anyway, but it shouldn't be low now. Okay, Christine. How are we doing? This way up. He can't win half the time. He has to. I do boost the cord. I do boost all these things. I put a booster on for the video as well. So that's why it's a lot higher. But so, yeah, sometimes you have to lower me. New trial. No, this is not a new trial. This is just a case, Christine. Just a case. Right, let's go on.
Person, she took good care of me, took care of her family.
Howard told local media that he never had problems with Thompson. Sometimes they'd talk in passing about things like college football, as neighbors do.
Just when they walk by, I see them coming from school. How you doing? They waved back, or sometimes they didn't. But we never had any beef or problems with them. We just barely interacted with him. We talked to his father every now and then. That's about it.
Police also say Thompson killed an off-duty police officer on his way to work and 2 women who were on a nearby greenway. He also allegedly injured 2 others. Police would find Thompson with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to his head in a nearby shed. He survived, but he hasn't been seen since. That is until last week, when he appeared in court for the first time. You can see in this picture by WRAL TV the scar on his forehead. He's now 17 years old, and he is being tried as an adult. Originally, this trial was set to begin in September of this year, 2025. But the defense argued they needed more time because Thompson now suffers from a brain injury because of that self-inflicted gunshot wound, and also the mountain of evidence in this case the defense says that they need to go through. The judge granted them that motion, and now the trial date is set for February 2026. Even though it will be more than 3 years since police say Austin Thompson went on this rampage, there's been movement in a related case, and it involves his dad, Alan Thompson. He pleaded guilty in September 2024 to improperly storing a handgun that police say his son used in the shootings. Prosecutors say Allen kept a loaded handgun in an unlocked box on a bedside table. What's truly remarkable for a crime that has changed so many lives in Raleigh, North Carolina is still at this point, we don't know why police say this teen did this. A motive has not been released as of yet. Joining me now to dive deeper into this case and the trial that is ahead is criminal defense attorney Safa Robinson Ferrer. Thanks for taking the time to be with us. What do you make of the judge siding with the defense?
Good morning, Rhonda. Good morning, Rhonda, my darling.
To move the trial date now into 2026 for this case?
I think that the judge made the right decision. As cases are prosecuted and we start to head towards trial, one of the things that has to be protected is the record for appeal. There's a question at this point in time as to whether or not this individual is competent enough to stand trial. I believe that this individual suffered some sort of brain injury as a result of this unfortunate incident. And so what the defense is doing is essentially putting a pause on trial so that it will either allow their client to regain competency or to allow what's the best manner forward so that their client can assist in his own defense. And that's one of the things that needs to be done to protect the record on appeal, to ensure that this case does not come back down on appeal for any reversal. So I think that the judge made the right decision in siding with the defense and in protecting the integrity of the judicial system.
Because when Austin Thompson was in court this week, there's this scar on his forehead that presumably is from the self-inflicted gunshot wound that police say he suffered after this rampage they say that he went on. How could that brain injury, that brain damage impact the trial once it gets started?
Absolutely. So one of the things that's so very important is that a defendant has a right to aid in his own defense. When a trial commences, the defendant, along with their attorneys, or for example, my client and myself, we work together to formulate our defenses and put forth our own evidence and proof. Not only that, but when the prosecution has witnesses that are testifying, we have the ability to cross-examine them. And there might be, an example that comes up where, so a witness is testifying to one thing, and then my client says to me, or the defendant would say, well, that's not actually what happened. This is what happened, and these are the questions, attorney, that you should be asking. Because this individual has that sort of injury, it raises a question on if he will able to do that with his attorneys, or again, assist in his own defense. So those are the things that could come up. That is why I believe the delay was granted, and should have been granted.
And as far as the process of going through evidence, because I know the defense talked about in their court records 8 terabytes of data of evidence to go through, which is just a massive amount. But as a criminal defense attorney, what is the process of actually going through that data and how that time could be used to prepare for a trial?
Absolutely. So what happens is we get, the discovery either through portal or some other means from the district.
Okay, well, we don't need to hear all this discussion. We want to hear about the case.
Negate what was.
No, they're just going to talk about. But I think that's the gist of it anyway.
Consequences that he could receive on the back end at a trial, or it is going to depend on the evidence. Do we have as an attorney? Yes.
Okay, well, right. We will go into the next one because I don't need to hear all that. I think we all understand all the things she's talking about. So this is in this video it talks about the timeline, the shootings, the search, and everything. This is so this is a hearing that happened 12 days ago where he pled guilty. So you'll see this now. They'll still go through it, but he pled guilty for the crime. So here we go.
Was 15 years old, went to school here in Wake County. He was living at the time with his... Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, on or about October the 13th of 2022, in the early day, this defendant, who at the time was 15 years old, went to school here in Wake County. He was living at the time with his mother and his father and his brother James. His brother James was a little bit older than him. He was 16 years old at the time of all of this. Both of them went to school that morning, and by all accounts, the evidence would have been that it was a normal morning for all of them. They went to school. The defendant acted appropriately in the school, performed various tasks throughout the day according to his teachers and other witnesses, including turning in homework assignments and doing a regular day's work. At some point during the day, the two of them went back to their residence, which was at 5345 Sahalee Way, Sahalee. When they responded to their residence there, they were home alone in the afternoon, as is often the case, and apparently played video games and things like that. Around 4:20 in the afternoon that day, though, things changed for James and for that neighborhood of Hedingham here in Wake County. At 4:20 in the afternoon, this defendant went into one of the rooms at his residence, retrieved a .22 caliber rifle, and shot his brother James in the back of the head one time with the .22 caliber projectile that ricocheted inside and lodged in his brain, causing significant damage. However, James was still alive at the time of this event, and by all accounts did not see it coming. By all the evidence.
But it's lower. I agree with you. I have boosted it as well. It seems to be lower. Yes.
Evidence would indicate he didn't see it coming, but was still alive. He ended up in the bathroom in the master suite, or the primary suite, of his parents' residence. While in that room, the defendant, it would appear, then took a knife and began to stab his brother, who, according to himself, according to a note that he left, and would be consistent with the findings of the medical examiners here in North Carolina, that he was still alive at the time of that killing. He stabbed him and caused what the medical examiner would describe as 57 sharp force injuries to his brother, most of which in the neck area on the left-hand side of his throat and neck. The doctor would say that it was at least 49 stab wounds and 9 incised wounds, which would be wider than they are deep, or in a slashing manner. These injuries caused severe damage to James, to include injuries to his carotid and jugular, his vocal cords, and even damaged the vertebrae in his neck. They were deep enough. Eventually, James would succumb to those injuries. According to the note left by the defendant, it took about 10 minutes after he was shot before he stopped breathing. James would eventually be discovered once all of this was in progress of the other shootings that would later occur. His mother arrived home and entered into her residence looking for her children, trying to check on their safety. When she entered into the bathroom in her bedroom is where she was the one that discovered her 16-year-old son, but could not locate his brother. Law enforcement officers were there. They began to investigate and would later search that residence, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But from about 4:20, or I guess 4:30 or so in the afternoon, until the defendant is seen again, which would be at approximately 5:08 in the afternoon, the defendant, it would appear based on the evidence, went through his residence and began to collect the items that he would use to carry out this rampage on this neighborhood. He went through, selected various firearms that were in the home, as he and his family were avid hunters, laid them out on the beds within the residence, almost buffet style, to see what his inventory would be. There were about 5 or so firearms that were still located in the residence when law enforcement officers would search the residence later. There were hundreds of rounds of ammunition in boxes that were also laid out beside each of the weapons in varying calibers, between shotgun, 9mm, and .22, varying types of shotgun ammunition between slugs and buckshot. There were also camouflage gear that was laid out or found in the defendant's room, along with the ammunition that had been repackaged into travel bags, Ziploc type containers. that evidence would indicate the defendant's home, that they were not normally kept in that condition. They were kept in boxes throughout the residence. The defendant had been captured while at school wearing dark-colored clothing when he got off of the school bus on video surveillance. When he later emerged, he was no longer wearing that, but had on full camouflage gear, a large backpack, and was carrying at least a long gun, which was visible and would later be determined to be a shotgun. The backpack would later be discovered and recovered by law enforcement when the defendant was taken into custody. And inside of that backpack, which weighed about 22 pounds at the time, the defendant had brought with him multiple bottles of water, prepackaged food, a change of clothes, over $700 in cash, again, dozens and dozens of rounds of ammunition that had now been changed in packaging from the boxes into Ziploc bags and would later be discovered to have been carried in his pockets, and various survival gear to include fire starters, a first aid kit, face paint for hunting type behavior, multiple knives, fishing hooks, toilet paper, and a change of clothes.
So I don't think there's any question that was premeditated, because he was obviously going to go on the run, or it seems like he was anyway. Wow, that's chilling.
The note that I indicated was left behind by the defendant in the residence. And I'm not going to read that to the court. I'll provide it to the court as an exhibit and would ask.
Hello, Marky. Hello, Terry. Hello, Hot Mama. As a reminder, because I'll remind myself before others remind me, at the beginning of the stream, I told everyone when Josie gets in, tell her to post her husband's YouTube link. So just a reminder, please post Nate's card breaking link, and please everybody go and subscribe to the link that Josie's about to post and support our friend Nate. And yeah, it's an awesome channel. I don't know anything about cards, but I've enjoyed watching his content. He's got a few shorts up there, so go and support our boy and go support our hot mama. She's trained him really well. His videos are very, very good. So post a link. KD wants to join it for sure. So right, let's get back to this. But morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well, Marky, as well.
That for the time being that it remain under seal until the sentencing hearing, but I will tell the court that during that note, he acknowledges his behavior and his intention to some degree, and confesses that he in fact intentionally killed his brother and the reason why he did so. And so if I may approach, I'll give the court that, and I will mark it first page as states A and the second as states B.
Thank you, Josie. Thank you for subscribing, Bad Daza. If everyone could take a moment to go and subscribe to Nate, that would be awesome. We should be supporting each other as much as possible, especially Hot Mama. Josie does a lot for this channel, and I love and adore Josie, which means I love and adore Nate. So please go and subscribe. Oh shit, I pressed it as well. There you go. That's the site.
So as I indicated, according to that note,
Hello, C-Star. How are you, my darling? Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well, C-Star.
all this begins around 4:20 in the afternoon. The defendant is not seen again until about 5:08 p.m. And when he is seen, he's captured on neighbors' Ring doorbell cameras exiting his residence, and he's now wearing that camouflage clothing that he would later be discovered in. He also has that backpack on his person and has a long gun, which is visible. But just prior to that, two ladies, Nicole Connors, who was 52 years old at the time, and Lynn Garner, who were friends, were neighbors of the defendant, lived a couple doors down. Miss Connors did. She and Miss Garner had gone out to celebrate a birthday earlier in that afternoon, and they'd gone to Red Lobster. They were on their way back to the residence and were going to go walk their dogs. The Ring doorbell camera and neighbors would say that they saw them out attempting to start their walk with their dog. They come walking past the defendant's home back towards the Connors residence with their dogs in tow. Seconds after they pass in front of the camera, you can see the defendant exit his residence, walk in a crouched way towards at a brisker pace towards those towards those two ladies, raise the firearm, and you can see that long gun fire at least one round. What would also be picked up on a different Ring doorbell camera is the audio of that event, where you hear that he fires what sounds like 5 gunshots from a long gun that would be consistent with the shotgun that he's later found to be in possession of, then transition into a handgun, what it sounds like, which would be a 9mm that he was later found to be in possession of. Miss Connors would make it back onto her front porch, where she would later be found by her husband Tracy, who's present in the courtroom. She's deceased at that time. She is found on her side on the front porch of her home, unable to make it into her residence. She had suffered at least 2 gunshot wounds that appeared to be from a shotgun. And those were to the left chest, breast, and arm area, causing severe damage to her person and ultimately taking her life. She also had what the medical examiner would determine, in his opinion, was more consistent with a handgun or single round that had been fired from the back of her, in the back of her head, and she was found dead there. Beside her dead body would be her dog, which had also been shot one time with what appeared to be the handgun. Miss Garner was more fortunate in that she lived, but she was also discovered on that walkway leading up from the driveway to the porch or the front deck area of that residence. She was transported by emergency personnel when she was discovered, and as I said, was fortunate enough to live. However, she suffered serious injuries to her person, including from a shotgun, which caused fractures to her face, severe injuries to her abdomen and chest, and she's had to spend months in the hospital in an effort to recover from her injuries. She was unable to provide a statement to law enforcement officers for a long time because of the medical treatment that she was being provided, and she still suffers the effects of this today. As I indicated, she was taken and eventually did give a statement to law enforcement officers when she was finally able to do so. She was able to describe the young man in camo that was the one that did this to her, said that she saw him standing over her, and she cried out and asked why he was doing this to them. Forensics would eventually come to that scene and collect evidence that would be consistent with what the video evidence and the eyewitnesses would testify about, and that would indicate that at that scene there were 5 spent shotgun casings that had been fired from the shotgun. Those were kind of along the roadway and into the grassy area, which would be consistent with the path of travel that witnesses would say they saw, along with the path of travel that you can see in the video. On the porch of that residence in the front by the dog and by Miss Connors, there would be 2 spent 9mm cartridge casings that would be located on the porch there. as I indicated, there were witnesses who would say they saw this individual in camo that appeared to be the one that was in this area when the shooting happened. And they began at this point in time to call 911, and these are when the first 911 calls are coming into the processing center. As a result of that action at that location, there was also a neighbor's home, which is at 2201 Castle Pines Drive, which is the residence of Nicole Cooper. She was present in her...
Lady Di. So what's going on is that you need to scroll back up and see there's a link in YouTube to subscribe to Josie's husband's card breaking YouTube channel. You need to subscribe to that channel first. Then you're going to join us for the next hour and a half, or about 90 minutes, as we go through some cases. This is a case about a 15-year-old in North Carolina, in Raleigh, that killed 5 people in a mass shooting. And his brother was one of them. He has now pled guilty to the crime. And this is just a hearing that happened a couple of weeks ago to state that he was going to plead guilty, and they're just going through all the going to put all the timelines and everything out for it. KD, she has. If you just scroll up, KD, it's right there. It's just literally about 10 messages up, KD. It's still on the screen. I can still see you on the screen, on our screen. So yeah, he killed 5 people and tried to unalive himself as well. But obviously he failed, and his front lobal is all messed up. So we're going to cover that. Just so people know, his sentencing begins today, but it's not going to be televised. It's not televised, but it's supposed to last about 2-3 days for his sentencing. He's looking at maximum of life without parole is his maximum, and life with parole of minimum 25 years is the minimum he can get. So 25 years is the minimum, and because he can't be tried for the death penalty because he was a minor at the time. He was 15 at the time, so that's off the table. Then I got 2 other cases that I just want to highlight as well as we go through. So we'll just finish this off. There's another 20 minutes or so on this, and then we'll do that. So Josie, thank you as well. This way up, he posted as well. Dre Days cards, and Josie's done it again. So no excuse, people. Make sure you fucking subscribe. Otherwise, you got hell to pay for. It's not from me, it's from Josie. You don't want to be on Josie's bad side, people. So fucking subscribe. Thank you, everybody. Love you, most of you.
Home at the point in time, and would later contact law enforcement and saying, look, I knew you had a lot going on at the time, but I have discovered that my home was struck with the projectiles that would be consistent with the shotgun. As you can see, the spray pattern on the outside of her home that entered in through the outside of her residence and landed inside of the bathroom, breaking her toilet bowl and causing some other damages within that occupied residence. And that would have been as forensically correlated with the event that occurred at the 5355 Hailey Way, which is the Connors residence outside. A video from a neighboring street, which is at Black Wolf Run, would pick up moments later. As I said, that was at about 5:08, so 2 minutes later or so, at around 5:10 p.m., a timestamp would capture this defendant crossing down Black Wolf Run, headed towards the cul-de-sac of Osprey Cove Drive. That would be a cul-de-sac that would later be the place that Gabriel Torres' body would be discovered. That video shows the defendant walking at kind of at a jog at a brisk pace, and then getting into the street and slowing down to walk towards that location. Witnesses would say that They saw him approaching a car at that location, which would later be determined to be officer with the Raleigh Police Department, Gabriel Torres's automobile.
Hello, Blue Collar Dave, Dave Boston, Labour's Union. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Let's go, Pats Warriors. Let's go, Dave. And Rhonda, thank you, my darling. And his brother and 4 others. I'm not sure. His brother and 4 others.
It would be determined that he was attempting to leave his residence to go to work that day. He was at the time not yet in uniform. He was sitting in his car on the phone with his wife Jasmine, who he lived with at that residence, and their young daughter, who was under the age of 5 at the time. While they were together, the mother and daughter are on the phone with Gabriel. They are moments behind the defendant as he's walking that direction. The same camera or a different camera picks up her car making the turn about the same time that you can hear the gunshots going off. She says that she's talking to him. He had backed out of their driveway as he had always done, and as neighbors would say he does, he being Officer Torres, to wait on her to come home so that he could kiss his daughter and tell his wife goodbye before he goes to work. They heard the gunshots, and he made a statement to them that he might need to go and look and to see what was going on. He was not able to do that. As a neighbor would say, they looked out the window after they had put their 2-year-old, I believe, child down on the couch and looked out the window when they happened to see a young man walking down the sidewalk in camouflage with a gun. He looked out and said, "What is this person doing?" At which point he sees the defendant walk in front of Officer Torres's car, fire around it directly through the front of the windshield, keep moving to the passenger side, firing 2 more times into that occupied car at Officer Torres, who was seated there and did not have a weapon on him at the time. Officer Torres was struck 3 times, or was struck at least 3 times by that shotgun at relatively close range. The witness says that when they saw this, they had opened the door and yelled at the defendant to have him stop, at which point the defendant stopped, turned at him, and pointed the gun at him as he was standing in his doorway. He slammed the door and ran back in, grabbed his child, ran upstairs, and he would express and would have told the court about the fear that he was experiencing at that point in time when he realized that he had not locked his door and had to go back downstairs unarmed, fearing that the defendant was going to come kick in his door or shoot through the door and harm him. He was subsequently able to go outside when he realized that the person had walked to the left of, facing the car, to the left of the car, down the embankment towards the greenway. He went to go check on his friend, Officer Torres. When he got out there, Jasmine, Officer Torres's wife, was already there trying to save her husband, but was unable to do so. He subsequently passed away as a result of the gunshot wounds to his chest, neck, and shoulder area, which were done at such close range that when they found him, the wadding from the shotgun was still embedded in Officer Torres's arm. As I indicated, the defendant was seen walking down towards the greenway at that Osprey Cove location. At that point in time would be when Mary Marshall, who was a 34-year-old resident of the Headingham neighborhood, had gone out to try and recover her dog that had gotten loose. She had been on the phone with her fiance, who said he had seen the news and that she needed to be careful. She said she would get back in the house and close the door as soon as she could, but she needed to get their dog. She is found on the greenway by other individuals who are traveling on the greenway on bicycle and foot, face down, unconscious. When they approach, they see that her dog is by her side, off of the leash. Her leash is loose. The dog will not leave her side, and they see that she has suffered multiple gunshot wounds. She suffered at least 2 gunshot wounds to the head and neck area, causing severe facial and brain injuries, and another to her shoulder and neck, which would be slightly from behind on her right shoulder. At that location, law enforcement officers would find her, the dog, as I indicated, but they would also find one cartridge casing from the spent shell of a shotgun that had been fired at that location. As they moved further down the Greenway towards the suspension bridge and towards the river, you get to about the Bay Harbor Drive area of that Greenway, and the body of Susan Carnatz, who was a 49-year-old lady who had been out on her daily jog in that area. She lived at a neighboring subdivision, but would oftentimes, and was an avid jogger, would run that area. As she was running the area, she unfortunately encountered this defendant while her husband and her three children who were at the time 14, 13, and 10, were at home. She didn't make it back to the residence after her husband had finished his jog, and he began to question where she was calling, texting, unable to get up with her, became distraught and worried about what was going on when he's looking at her devices, which are telling that she's stationary on the Greenway. So he decides, after seeing the news and that there's a possible active shooter on the loose in the Hedingham area, that he would drive to that location. He goes there and is directed to wait for around 30 minutes or so while officers are investigating. He provides this information for identifying purposes, a photograph, a copy of the map. Detectives with the Raleigh Police Department go down to the Greenway, where they find Ms. Carnatz's body. She had passed away from gunshot wounds at that location. She had suffered at least 3 shots with a shotgun at that location, suffering injuries to the top of her head, her chin, her neck, and head area, which caused issues with the jugular, carotid, her brain, and skull fractures. There were 4 spent cartridge casings found at that location. I have not told you this, but what we would later find out is that the shotgun that the defendant would later be found in possession of carried 5 rounds in it at the time. And so there's some reloading that apparently has happened from start to this point in time. The defendant is witnessed by individuals who are neighbors at that location walking down the Greenway and see him. They think that he's hunting. They go outside, and at least one of them says he's going to yell at the defendant to stop hunting, but then something makes him stop and question whether or not to do that, so he doesn't yell, but he hears the gunshots going off at that location on the Greenway, sees this camouflaged person walking by with the long gun that they would describe as a shotgun likely. The defendant, we didn't know this at the time, but what we later learned when we got a hold of his cell phone is that law enforcement are able to track his movements via the cell phone. He's using his cell phone at various times throughout his travel, and they're able to track that path that I've just talked about. They track his path as he crosses over the suspension bridge on the Greenway, and it looks like he immediately takes a right off of the beaten path and enters into the heavily wooded area, where he travels for quite a distance in an effort that the state would have contended to avoid apprehension by law enforcement. At this time, it is clear that there is a law enforcement response. They have flooded the area with lights and sirens. There are helicopters that are beginning to circulate over the top. It is an active manhunt to figure out what's going on. Neighbors are terrified. They're locking doors. Nobody knows what's happening if it's just one or more persons. He is able to avoid law enforcement by staying within those heavily wooded areas. He eventually, and if you look at the path, there's only so many places he can go because of water and fence lines. He's eventually forced out of the wood line when he reaches the trailer park, which is right there on the other side of the river from Hedingham, and he walks up the hill, where he is captured on video from one of the residents at that location at 1104 Blackbeard Road or Lane. And in that camera, you see the defendant come up. He's walking normal, at a normal pace, doesn't appear to be flustered in any way, is carrying a long gun, and he has an interaction with someone that is outside at that trailer park. You can't hear what that other person says, but you can hear sirens in the background, and you hear the defendant say to that person, hey, there's shooting going on over there, pointing back where he had come from, indicating that it was not him, that it was somebody else over there, and that he then continues back and goes back down into the woods, avoiding law enforcement, and does not fire at that person. He then is able to stay in the woods again for a pretty significant period of time, off the beaten path, following the water, until he eventually reaches another breaking point in the woods, which is at Tar Heel Club Road, and he has to cross the road more than likely to continue to get distance between him and the crime scene. Fortunately, as he is crossing the road, a passerby sees him in the camo entering into the wood line on the other side of the road and calls 911 again and says, hey, I've seen the suspect that believes to be walking in this wood line if you want to check. Law enforcement now floods that area, and they've got a multi-jurisdictional, multi-organizational response out there between the Highway Patrol, the Sheriff's Office, the Raleigh Police Department, and various other law enforcement agencies. They go into that wood line where he is and begin to kind of saturate that area in an attempt to either find him or flush him out to the...
This is a Raleigh, North Carolina one. He's already pled guilty and sentencing begins today. He's 15 years old and he killed 5 people, Marky. One was his brother, and they're just going through exactly who he killed and how he was premeditated and stuff like that. Thompson. I think it was Thompson. Is it Thompson? Austin Thompson, yes, Austin Thompson.
Roads where there are other cars that are there, or other police officers lining the roads looking to see if he comes out so that they can locate him. Law enforcement officers will eventually come upon a large property at 1533 McConnell Oliver Drive. The back of that property is abutted by woods that are pretty dense, and there's a probably 4 foot high, 3 foot high, 3.5 foot high fence that's out there, and there are multiple what I would describe as large sheds or storage areas in the backyard of that residence. Law enforcement officers would testify, their body cam would also show that they are following a canine track that had picked up and led them to that location. They jump that fence, and there is a shed that is closest to them. They clear that shed, members of the Sheriff's Office, the Highway Patrol, and the SCU team or SWAT team with the Raleigh Police Department. The first shed is cleared. As they are preparing to go to the next shed, they send the dog ahead to follow the trail in an attempt to not ruin the trail that the dog has. They end up in a bit of a holding pattern in between the two sheds. They're shining a light, and they shine the light closest to that far building, which would be the building that is closest to the home. As soon as the light goes into there, you can hear, and officers would testify, that there is a loud bang that comes from within that shed or in the shed area. They don't know where this gunshot is coming from at this time. Officer Casey Clark with the Raleigh Police Department, who was there working in an attempt to locate the defendant, is struck by the pellets of the shotgun blast that came from that shed area. It struck him square in the knee, where there is still a pellet lodged today. He would suffer injuries that would force him to no longer be a law enforcement officer. He still suffers injuries and the effects of that injury today with the limited use of the leg and it kind of giving out on him to this day, and the inability for it to support his work anymore. He's had to change his line of business from law enforcement, which is not what he had wanted to do. When he is struck, he immediately goes down to the ground and is calling out where he thinks the shot came from. Officers bravely grab him and drag him behind the first shed when other officers start to return fire to the location. It would subsequently, the evidence would have shown that the defendant fired at least from that shed area, I believe about 4 shotgun rounds were fired from within the shed. There are 4 empty cartridge casings from the shotgun that the defendant would be located with. He's in the far back corner, in a very dark corner of the shed. Law enforcement start getting various information that he may have bombs from other 911 calls. They call in the robot that they will attempt to use to separate him from the weapons. He's refusing to put down weapons. They would testify he's pointing the weapon at the robot, etc. He is eventually, and still wearing the backpack, he is eventually grabbed by the robot, drug out, and separated from the weapons. They are able to go in and detain him. He is suffering what appears to be, and I'll tell you why, a self-inflicted gunshot wound to his head at this point in time. When they retrieved the shotgun that the defendant was in possession of, there was blood and other matter in the barrel area of that gun that would have been consistent with a close-range self-inflicted wound. Where he was located, there is also a close impact shotgun hole or damage to the shed wall that is about head level where he was, that also contained various residue that was consistent with gunpowder, etc., indicating to officers that it was likely a close-range wound. Furthermore, we have all of the body cam footage, etc., that shows there was never any law enforcement officers in that shed to fire that round, and it would be consistent with the shotgun and the number of rounds that were fired when you looked at all of the evidence that was related to it. He is drugged from that residence. They already had EMS at the location. EMS is immediately on the scene. They begin to administer care to him. He is transported to Wake Med Hospital, where he stays for an extended period of time recovering, but as you can see, ultimately survived and recovered from those injuries. Law enforcement officers with the Raleigh Police Department began their investigation in earnest at that point and began to look into what was going on, what evidence might there have been as to planning or thoughts behind any of this. The bag that he had carried, or that he had packed, is located at that scene, and that's how we know what items were in the bag. He had with him, still at the scene, a shotgun, which would have had to have been reloaded after the last victim on the Greenway, given the number of shots that had been fired. Inside in the shed, there are 4 spent cartridge casings from the shotgun, 3 inside the shed, 1 that had not been ejected from the tube from the shotgun that had been fired, and then an unspent round that was still loaded inside the shotgun. He also had on his person the 9mm handgun, which also had with it 3 extra magazines. So 1 magazine that was loaded in the gun, 3 extras that he had brought with him that were loaded with varying amounts of ammunition. He had in his pockets loose amounts of cartridge casing or of unspent shotgun shells in the bags, as I indicated, multiple gallon size Ziploc bags full of varying types of shotgun ammunition that he had brought with him on this trip. CCBI at the time, now Wake County Bureau of Forensic Services, conducted ballistic examinations of the firearms in this with the cartridges that were able to be located from the scenes. They were able to make a match to a Ted Williams .22 rifle that was located in the residence, to a spent .22 cartridge casing and projectile that would be the one that killed his brother James. They were also able to make identifications from the shotgun to the varying locations for each of the shotgun fired cartridge casings for the shotgun shells to match the weapons that were all discovered on the defendant's person at his arrest. Then they were able to get into, and I will tell the court that the defendant's parents were cooperative with law enforcement in providing them access to various things throughout the course of the investigation after the fact. Law enforcement were able to recover the cell phone that the defendant also had on him at the time that he was captured. As I indicated, he had been using that cell phone, looking up various things, to include at the time and during the course of the events, this event on the news, kind of live following what was happening as he's going on the run through these wood lines. They were able to do a forensic examination of the cell phone and the laptop that belonged to the defendant. They were able to identify various searches throughout the history of that phone over the years, which I will talk about. They also interviewed his parents, his friends, his teachers, and were not able to get any information from any of them that they saw red flags about any of this. All of the evidence it would indicate was that the defendant was good at covering this tracks or not being open about his intentions or his interests, as it were. Varying searches in his cell phone and on the laptop would include lots of things that would be very pertinent to what he would do, how he would go about doing it, and the consequences of the actions for people that might do things like this, even down to the degree of juveniles and the effect of first-degree murder for a person under the age of 18. He looked up varying other school shootings, varying other mass shootings, varying types of police responses and how they would respond to things, the types of weapons that were used by other mass shooters, locations that would be more likely to be deadly, to inflict an injury, things along those lines. And if I may approach, this is State's Exhibit C.
Okay. Your Honor, I do want to say that we received this 100-page report a week ago. Our experts are still evaluating it, and when it comes to sentencing hearing, we may have things to say about it. I don't mind if as part of the factual basis Your Honor looks at it, but I do want to make a note that I am not in any way, shape, or form stipulating to this because I have not had the opportunity to have it vetted by my experts, and I may later challenge it.
This is State's Exhibit C. I would ask similarly that be held until the sentencing hearing from public. But it's as you can see, it's lengthy, but that's the report that was prepared by law enforcement. It'll give you an opportunity to look into that phone, and there are some dates and times and things that would indicate that these searches had been going on for a significant period of time. And by that I mean years. And we're not talking about just days leading up to this. A long period of time the phone would indicate that he is making searches, interested in all of these types of things and how to go about doing what he did. Also, they would find that he had gone on and done online shopping in attempts to maybe not even be able to purchase them, but had added things to his shopping cart online that were things like body armor, various weapons, face coverings, knives, things that would correlate with what he would eventually do and the types of searches that he was going through and attempting to carry out. And if I may have one moment, Your Honor.
Yes, Standing Stones. You see it right at the back, so people that don't know. It's standing there. Look at that. Hello, ladies. How are we? Right there, Standing Stones. All my favourite things on there. So let's put that there. My favourite hats. So right, bear with me whilst I do that. So that is where we're at. That was the foundation. As I say, he's 15. He pled guilty. I did catch a little bit Grant. He was baked. He was baked. So absolutely off his tits. But I like Grant. I've met Grant in real life, and he's totally different in real life, and he was actually a nice guy. Bex says, "Hubba hubba, let's go, Bex. Let me fly to Georgia, my darling." I haven't got the cunt video for you because I'm on Streamlabs now, so I haven't got it ready. I have to always prepare it. Hope you're doing well, though. Nice to see you. I hope you're keeping busy. Right, hang on. So the next video is just a synopsis of it all again. So here we go. It's only 2 minutes. We can bear 2 minutes. We never last more than 2 minutes anyway. So here we go. See you later, Spacey Stacy.
Yeah, a bit.
Oh, shit, right. I got it back. Gotta run. That means she's going to a meet. When she says she's going to a meeting, it means she's going to other streams. You know, so. Dang it. I know. I'm sorry. StreamYard's just too expensive. StreamYard's like $44 a month. And Streamlabs. I've got the very basic Streamlabs function. It's free. So. Right, here we go then. Let me play this. This is just a continuous thing here, so you'll see it. Then we'll move on to the next case.
Abrupt. He was supposed to go to trial in just a couple of weeks, and then yesterday his attorneys filed that motion saying he intended to plead guilty. I want you to take a look at some video of Thompson inside of the courtroom today while he was making that plea. He sat mostly quietly throughout the entire hearing. The judge questioned him as is standard in guilty pleas like this, just making sure he understood what was happening and what was going on and that he was doing it on his own free will. Now, the state gave a rundown of the facts that were really hard to hear at times, describing Thompson walking through the neighborhood, continually reloading a shotgun and shooting at almost anyone he passed. They gave details on Thompson preparing for the attack, researching mass shootings and weapons. Investigators also say when Thompson was found after the murders, he had a 22-pound backpack with him full of supplies like water, food, weapons, and a change of clothing, like he was ready to be on the run for a while. Some family members of victims were in the courtroom today, understandably very emotional. I talked with the family of Mary Marshall, one of the victims of that day. They told me they're relieved that they won't need to hear graphic evidence or testimony at a trial.
I'm glad this part is somewhat over. It's never going to be over. It'll always be there, but now that I know that he's admitted he did wrong and admitted his guilt, it is somewhat of a relief.
I'd second that. There were things said that we didn't know going into it, so it was a little rough.
Thompson won't face the death penalty since he was only 15 years old at the time of the shootings. Instead, he's facing life in prison without parole. That's the maximum sentence he can get. The minimum sentence he could face is life in prison with the possibility of parole in 25 years. Today, Superior Court Judge Paul Ridgway set the sentencing date for February 2nd, which is the day that his trial would have started if this plea did not happen. The victims' families will have a chance to make victim impact statements on that day. In Raleigh, Dina Harley.
So, yeah, so the sentencing starts today and it'll probably last 2-3 days. Sorry, before we do that, Standing Stone says, say a prayer for my daughter's girlfriend. She's 5 months pregnant and they found some fluid in the baby's abdomen. Well, prayers up for her, Standing Stones. Hope everything is going well. Everything goes well for her today. And nothing worse than that, the worry and stuff. So, yes. Does anyone know if the groundhog saw his shadow today? Not that it matters because it's all bullshit, just curious. Okay, so as I say, the most that he could be facing is life without parole, and the least he could be facing is life with parole, which begins at 25 years. Does not mean that he gets parole at 25 years, but he'll be eligible for parole after 25 years. So who knows? Right. Next case is, let me line it up here, is in Florida. So I've never heard of this case either. So we'll read it first and then we'll move on from it. This is a quick one because it's ongoing. So, let me make it bigger. That's what she said. Right. A Florida man who served as a sheriff's deputy has pleaded guilty to shooting his roommate and fellow deputy in the head. Andrew Lawson, who's 25 years old, pleaded guilty to manslaughter on Thursday, 3 years after he called 911 to report that he shot his friend, 23-year-old Austin Walsh. Both men were roommates in Palm Bay and both served as deputies at the Brevard County Sheriff's Office. Lawson and Walsh were off duty on the night of December 3rd, 2022 and playing video games. During a break, Lawson picked up a gun that he believed was unloaded and jokingly aimed it at the man he later described as his best friend. Lawson pulled the trigger twice and shot Walsh in the head, killing him immediately. So when I first read that, I was like, well, if you've got officers doing this shit, what hope have we got? These people are trained to not do any of this stuff, and they're going around mucking about, joking about with guns. What hope does the world have if that's the case? Yeah, Standing Stones, just so you know, Marilyn LUVJJ is Jersey Jen, aka Jersey Jugs, aka Just Jugs, aka Jugs, aka Marilyn. So he pled guilty, but there's a twist. He agreed to a plea deal, but I'll show you what happened here, just so you are aware. This is the hearing where he pleads guilty. I'm going to play 1.25 because it's a little bit... Hang on, I need to boost it first for Deb. Boost it, there.
I'm inside this courtroom in Brevard County where the sentencing hearing is continuing for Andrew Lawson. He's a former Brevard County Sheriff's deputy who, today in court, we heard about a plea deal that was made, negotiations that have been underway. He has now pleaded guilty to a manslaughter in the fatal shooting of another deputy, 23-year-old. This is Andrew Lawson.
That's Andrew Lawson, the police officer. So his plea deal was a maximum of 7 years in prison for manslaughter. That was a deal agreed going into this. I believe that the defense were going for no jail time, but both sides agreed that the maximum sentence could be 7 years, and it'd be up to the judge to associate that sentence. So they didn't agree on sentence. They just agreed that 7 years would be the maximum he would face if he pled guilty. So he did. So yes, here we go. Lady Di, I boosted, you see, so that's the problem. I boosted so much. I don't understand why I'm so low, though. I don't get it. Maybe I need to, hang on.
To be I believe
I've lowered the desktop audio, so that might be making it a little bit better. Let me know how the desktop audio is, because I've taken it down to 50% to see.
He's being called to the stand as the final witness here in this sentencing hearing. Let's go ahead and listen in.
Do you swear or affirm that any testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right, thank you. You can go ahead and take a stand. Just hold the microphone close to you so we can hear you.
May it please the court, Your Honor. Mr. Lawson, let me know when you're ready to proceed. Don't start reading it. Just let me know when you're ready. I'm ready. Okay.
Dave is in the house. What's happening, Dave? What are you doing? The trial out of Georgia called the Law of Duty trial. What are you on about, David? What's happening?
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor.
Also, just so you know, Dave Umberger, the amount of people in chat that have been worried about you is unbelievable because you've been missing. Anytime you go over a day missing, people get worried. Thank you, Rhonda.
So, I want to tell you, if you need breaks, you can ask the court. Please try to speak up as much as you can. State your full name. State your full name.
Andrew Jacob Lawson.
Spell your last name, please.
Lawson.
How old are you, sir?
25 now.
And what's your date of birth?
February 20th, 2000.
Where are you currently living?
With my mother.
What's the address?
2577 Pitts Cove. It's in Bonifay, Florida.
Bonifay, Florida?
Yes.
Where is that?
It's up in the Panhandle.
Okay, and how long have you been living with your mother?
Past 3 years.
Ever since the incident?
Yes, sir.
Are you currently a certified sworn law enforcement officer?
No.
Or have they taken away your privileges?
I'm not employed, so I'm not sworn.
Okay. And what's your mother's name?
Vicky.
Oh, I got you, Dave. I got you. I understand what you say now, Detroit. Yeah, I will look at it and I might start it tomorrow. The reason is I have to leave early today. I can't do a full stream today. I have family that I have to spend time with in about 90 minutes, less than 90 minutes. So that's why I can't do it. But I will cover it, Dave. If it looks okay, I'll cover it. And we can start it tomorrow maybe, even though it'll be later tomorrow because I got a doctor's first thing. So let me look at it and I'll get back to you.
Lawson. Vicky Sue Lawson.
Say that again?
Vicky Sue Lawson.
Okay, is that Lawson?
Yes.
Yes, right here? Do you live with anyone else or just the two of you?
It's just the two of us.
Do you have a wife? Are you married?
I'm not married, no.
Do you have any children?
No.
Okay. So before I start asking you some questions, did you prepare a statement that you wanted to read?
Yes.
Is that what you're holding in your right hand? That
Yes,
was
sir.
moved in as Defendants 5?
Yes.
Okay. And did you write this yourself?
I did.
And who was the statement to?
Several people, but specifically Austin's mother and brother.
Okay. Are you prepared to read it now?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
To Miss Cheryl and Alec Walsh, extended family and friends of Austin Walsh. We're here today because of my foolish, avoidable actions on the night of December 2nd, over 3 years ago now. Austin was an accomplished deputy, a wonderful, loving friend, and above all else, he was a brother and he was a son. Austin brought happiness and laughter to so many people, including myself. And I had the privilege of serving the Brevard County Sheriff's Office, and we were on the same shift rotation, which meant much of our off time was spent together. And when we finally moved in together, with our friend and roommate Deputy Quinn LeBreton, Austin and I spent even more time together than previous. There were many conversations between Austin and myself about the future and what we both wanted out of life. I wanted to continue my career in law enforcement and one day have a family of my own. Austin wanted several things. Along advancing his career, what a family would look like, or maybe even travel. He spoke a lot about a trip he took to Alaska to see a good friend of his.
Also, Dave, I've just noticed that the trial you speak of, there's a delay because 4 jurors did not turn up today. 4 jurors did not turn up so far today. So maybe there'll be delay. Maybe I can do it later today if it starts later. Maybe. I'll look into it. Maybe we do a stream later on today. Or maybe do it. I don't know. Let me think about it. But the trial in Georgia. Oh, actually, we're going to do it. We're definitely doing it because Bex is from there. So we'll definitely do it because we know how wild people in Georgia are. So we'll definitely do it. Whether I do it later on today or whether I start it tomorrow is debatable because I got dinner with my family, but that will be like 90 minutes. But we'll see. But it's delayed now anyway, so yeah.
And how much he enjoyed that time seeing that part of the world. And how he wanted to see more of it. Austin was one of the funniest people I knew. Our sense of humor was very similar, and so we could easily make each other laugh. I vividly remember a conversation when I was pestering Austin about taking dancing lessons because he was so bad at it. And maybe in the future he could join ballet and all the places he would visit and all the people he would meet because of his newfound passion of dancing. On the night of his death, we spoke about what we could do about my personal room in the house, because one area that Austin and I differed in was Austin was a very neat and orderly person, and I was not. Austin wanted to help me by making my personal room look more alive and put together, and the plans we had for the next day together to accomplish this. This was our last meaningful conversation he and I would have. It breaks my soul to know that I took Austin's future away from him. that because of what I did, not only will I never be able to talk to Austin again, but you guys won't be able to either. I stole a future that was not mine. I stole future laughter, future love, future service, a friend, a brother, and a son that was not mine to take. I see these things out of truth and the belief I have in Jehovah God. Proverbs 28:13 says, whoever conceals his transgressions will not prosper, but he who confesses and forsakes them will obtain mercy. I say these things not out of the hope of obtaining the passing of judgment or consequence. I have accepted what I did, and I take full responsibility in the taking of Austin's life. Knowing full well that because of my actions I'm here, and Austin is not, my hope is that one day all the people I have wronged, I have sought out and asked for your forgiveness. Because I stole from you, I wronged you, and that is my fault. I'm sorry. I apologize. Will you please forgive me? To the friends of Austin who are here today, I apologize for the pain I have caused you by my actions being the reason he is not here with us today. I apologize for stealing all the future moments of laughter, happiness, and joy Austin could bring into a room. I apologize for the grief, the tears, and the pain of my own actions caused on the night he was taken from you. I pray that one day, if you all are willing, you will forgive me for what I stole from you and the pain that I caused you. To the Brevard County Sheriff's Office and the people of Brevard County, I apologize for the hardworking, effective deputy that you lost because of my actions. To the people of Brevard County, I betrayed your trust. I swore an oath to protect, serve, and defend the citizens of this county. Austin was one of those citizens I swore to protect. The book of Numbers, chapter 30, verse 2 says, if a man vows a vow to the Lord or swears an oath to bind himself by a pledge, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all the proceeds out of his mouth. For betraying you, the people of our county, your trust, before the people here today, before God, I ask for your forgiveness in the breaking of my oath. To Ms. Cheryl and Alec Walsh, I stole from you a loving brother and a loving son. And for that, there's nothing I can do to repay the thing which I've stolen. I've not lost a brother and I've not lost a son. So I'm incapable of understanding the grief and the pain for which I've caused you. A parent should never have to bury their child, and my foolish actions are the reason you had to bury your child. I've wronged and hurt you beyond anything I can understand by taking your brother and your child away from you. I pray that God will give you peace and heal you because of what I have done to hurt you and cause you all this pain. Please forgive my actions and all that I have taken from you.
You need a moment, Andrew? Good, sir. Good. We've heard a lot about what has kind of sort of happened peripherally. But let me ask you this. What did Austin mean to you? Describe for the court your bond, your friendship, your relationship.
I mean, he's my best friend. So we shared a lot together, personal things. He was definitely somebody that I would have had at my wedding. If I did get married, he would have been in my wedding. But, I mean, he was a brother.
Did you ever tell him how much he meant to you?
In one way or another, yeah.
Did he express how he felt about you? Was that
in his own way? In his own way.
So, let's go back to December 2nd. We've heard you were out to dinner, correct?
Yes.
What happened after that? Take us through.
I had returned home.
And I apologize, let me take a step back. You're issued a department firearm by the sheriff's office, correct?
Yes.
Did you own any other personal firearms?
Yes.
The firearm in question, what was it?
It was a personal firearm.
What kind of gun was it?
It was a Glock 34.
Okay, a pistol?
Yes, sir, handgun. Yes, sir.
And how long prior to December 2nd and 3rd had you acquired that? Approximately.
I think I bought it like 4 or 5 days before.
Okay. You had just got it?
Yes, I just purchased it.
And where did you get it from?
Frog Bones, the gun range.
Okay. Had you had any opportunity since you purchased it to use it at Frog Bones or any other gun ranges at the sheriff's office or anything like that?
No, I had never shot it, and it was that day was the first time I actually took it out of the case to clean it. Was that day.
So I just want the court to understand this was an absolute new firearm for you.
Yes.
How many other firearms did you own, not your department issued one, approximately, at that time?
Probably 5 or 6.
Are they all different in terms of how they feel in your hand and
Yes.
the weight?
Yes.
All right, go on after dinner.
So I returned home, and dinner had gone a little later, I think, if I remember correctly, than expected, because he and I were supposed to run to, we had made plans to buy some stuff for my room. I had not.
Who's he?
Austin, Mr. Walsh, Austin Walsh had, he and I had made plans to, either later that night or the next day to go shopping essentially for things for my personal room in the house, because I was still living out of boxes and stuff from moving.
How long had you been living with Austin and Quinn?
It wasn't very long. I want to say it was less than 6 months.
Okay, it was measured in months, not days. You were there for months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
Yes,
guys
sir.
are roommates.
Yes, sir.
All right. So you had plans. Go on.
Yeah. So we had plans to the next day or even later that evening go to the store, and I had called him to tell him that he had decided to go to the gym. And so I was going in the garage to the house, and I called him to tell him that, being that how late it was, let's just decide to do it tomorrow, because we were off the next day, because we were off that full weekend because of our rotation. And he said he was okay, and then I informed him that there were friends of ours that were wanting to get online and play games, and so he said he was on his way home, and that when he got home, he wanted to have dinner, and
What time did Mr. Walsh arrive home, approximately?
I want to say it was probably after 8:30, 9 o'clock maybe.
At night?
Yes, sir.
And you were already there?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. LeBreton Quinn was not there?
Yes, sir.
Because he was working?
Yes, sir.
So just the two of you?
Yes, it was just two of us.
Did you guys game a lot? Call of Duty? Play that?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, what is that game? We heard some description of it. From your perspective, what is it?
It's a military shooter game. You get on, you play with friends.
Teams?
Teams, yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, so go on.
So Austin got back from the gym. He wanted to have something to eat. And then we had decided to sit down and watch a show together. Because we both had talked about how there's a particular show that we wanted to watch.
Which show?
On the stand right now, Andrew Lawson now describing that night just moments ago, making an emotional plea, asking for forgiveness for his, quote, foolish and avoidable actions, that he said it really breaks his soul to know he took Austin's future away, pleading guilty to manslaughter for the shooting of Austin Walsh, who was his co-worker, his friend, his roommate, when he says he jokingly had pulled the trigger twice before that gun fired. He is the last witness being called by the defense today. Unclear how much further in this, how much longer this will go this afternoon. The judge was talking earlier about potentially having to reschedule a second date for this hearing. So stay tuned for Fox 35 News. Later we'll have updates on this. Right now, I'm going to hand you off.
Well, that's some BS stuff right there. That's some BS, that is. That it just cuts off. I'll play you this. That is unbelievable. Let's just did that. Anyway, I'll play you this. No, your better half needs to. Your better half is right. I am not confused. Right, Mr. Lady Di, I would go to Vegas on my own if I were you. Right, this is a brief synopsis of what happened. So just remember that this guy pled guilty. They had a hearing just now, and they agreed to a maximum sentence of 7 years, but the judge would be the one that decides it. The defense wants 0 time, and the Commonwealth obviously wants 7 years.
Now, the sentencing hearing for a former Brevard County deputy just ended with no sentence. Andrew Lawson, seen here, pleaded guilty to...
That's him. That's him, right? So you saw him on the stand. That's him. That was him a few years ago when it happened.
manslaughter for shooting his best friend.
But the judge did not agree to the plea deal after a more severe punishment. Fox 35's Marie Edinger joins us live. So Marie, you just got out of the courtroom. This has been going on a long time. I think this was a surprise to a lot of people.
I think it was a surprise to a lot of people. I think it was also a relief to the family. The plea deal that Lawson took said that he could only be sentenced to a maximum of 7 years in prison. And the family did not like that agreement. They told the judge that over hours of testimony today and victim impact statements. Ultimately, the judge said she didn't like that deal either. And so she chose to not accept that plea. So we'll move forward in the future with this case.
His training and sworn duty do not mitigate his conduct. It magnifies his culpability.
In December of 2022, Deputy Andrew Lawson and Deputy Austin Walsh were playing Call of Duty when Lawson picked up a gun, pointed it at his best friend. He says as a joke, he pulled the trigger and it didn't fire. So he cocked it, pulled the trigger again, shot Walsh in the face, and called 911 to report what he'd done.
It didn't seem fair for what I did, for Austin to be gone, and me to still be here.
The Brevard County Sheriff's Office North District Commander took the stand Friday as well, testifying to the amount of training deputies go through to ensure something like this doesn't happen.
Treat all firearms as though they are loaded. Keep your finger outside the trigger guard until you have decided to fire. Point the muzzle in a safe direction at all times. Be sure of your target.
Lawson's defense attorney says the gun Lawson fired was not his service weapon, rather a different gun purchased just a few days prior, so he was less familiar with it. But Commander Herrera mentioned the type of firearm didn't matter. Weapons safety training would extend to any gun. Lawson pleaded guilty to manslaughter with a deal that capped his possible sentence at 7 years. He asked the judge for no prison time.
The 7-year cap or less proposed by the state of Florida, specifically former state attorney Phil Archer, is an insult to what took place that night, and that is not justice for my son.
The judge gave Lawson some options when she said she would not be accepting his plea in the end. He could either enter an open plea, which would mean the judge would have the discretion to sentence him however she sees fit, or he could withdraw his plea and then choose to either go to trial or try to renegotiate with the state on a future plea deal. Live in Brevard County, Marie Edinger, Fox 35 News.
So that's why I wanted to play that, because how often do we hear a plea deal and the judge just sanctions it? The judge declined the plea deal, and as you heard, there has the opportunity now. He has the opportunity to allow her to sentence him in open court with no plea deal, or try again for a plea deal. Now he's in a bit of a tricky spot, because he knows he's probably going to be over 7 years now. So, what is the maximum? I don't know. The family are never going to be happy with any plea deal. But what is the judge going to be happy with to allow it? So, he knows he's probably facing over 7 years in prison. So, yeah, what would you do in that spot? I don't know what I would do. Do you just swallow it and go, when I say swallow it, that's more towards you ladies. Do you swallow it and just go, fuck it? Or what do you do? Dave needs a coffee in a bowl. So I don't know. This is it's unprecedented, shall we say. You never hear about these things. Right, let me set something up here. So that was that case. So we'll come back and revisit that. So my next case I'm going to cover, before we subside, is... Oh, hang on. Let me do this. Okay. I gotta just move some stuff here. Bear with me whilst I move them. Oh shit, come on, stop it. I need to get the other one. I got one more, I think. Hang on. Where's it gone? Hang on, I need to find it. Bear with me. Okay, I found it. Right. But I just need to pause it for a second before I start it. Bear with me, people. So this next case, the final case of the day, is something that I found I wanted to cover. And literally, without knowing it, Hippie Chick messaged me and asked me to cover it and to bring light to it. So, because this case is a case very close to her heart, she knows the victim, she knows the family of the victim, so it's very sad and very emotional for her. So, it is a very sad case. So, I will play this. I was going to play it anyway, but because obviously it's Hippie Chick, we all love Hippie Chick, we will be covering this case extensively anyway throughout this. This is an ongoing case. Let me delete some stuff here so I can not have any issues. So this is the story of Hailey Buzbee in Indiana. So yeah, I don't know I've only just found this case, so I don't know anything about it. Hippie Chick's been sending me some stuff, which I'm grateful for, but obviously she's very upset about it all. So I don't want to do, I'm just going to play some of the highlights of this and try and do some justice to it rather than fuck it up. So I'll play a couple of clips of what I'm aware of, and then I'll play the others. So when I first picked this case up, Hailey Buzbee is 17 years old and she was missing. She's reported missing. So she went missing on January 6th, 2026 in Fishers, Indiana, and obviously Hippie Chick is from Indiana. The family created a GoFundMe and stuff like that as well. And there's a Facebook page called Find Hailey Buzbee, which I will try and open up and show everybody as well when I can. I'll get the link and stuff. So, right, I'll play you this because this is the first video that I saw and I made me very sad. So, hang on, here we go.
Hi, Hailey.
Hi, Dad.
Can you please remind me why I'm the most luckiest dad ever?
Yeah, because you got the smartest girl in the whole world.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I think so, too.
17-year-old Hailey Buzbee went missing from Fishers, Indiana on January 6, 2026. She's a junior at Hamilton Southeastern High School, and her parents, Bo and Rania Buzbee, issued a public plea for help. They have passed out over 20,000 flyers across Indiana, but there has still been no sign of Hailey.
Look at me, bro. Sorry. My name is Hailey, and I'm gonna be frolicking through the halls. Okay.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Blow, 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 blow.
On January 20th, the Fishers Police Department confirmed that Hailey is classified as an endangered missing child. Police said she left her house either the night of January 5th or in the early morning hours of January 6th. They don't believe she acted alone and are working with state and federal law enforcement partners to help locate her. Hailey is 5 feet 3 inches and 120 pounds. She has dimples and has brown hair and eyes. She also might be wearing a black puffer jacket.
We'll never stop. We're never going to stop looking for her.
In an interview with the Indianapolis Star, her father, Bo, said, "Real progress has been made by the community because of the outreach and concern for her. We've shared as much as we possibly can and put the word out. People have given us the hope and strength that we need." On January 12th, the Buzbee family created a GoFundMe page to help with professional search teams, travel expenses, printing flyers, and any other support that can help find Hailey. And so far, it has already raised over $33,000. A Facebook page and a group called Find Hailey Buzbee was created. Over 1,000 people have joined it to help in the search. Her story has since gained national attention after being featured on Dateline NBC, and we are spreading it on Stay Inspired to help it reach an even wider audience. In an interview, Hailey's family said she is a good student with good grades. She did all of this while working a part-time job as a server at a local restaurant. In an update, Bo said, "We don't know where you are right now, but we want you to know you are loved more than words can explain." Anyone with information is asked to contact the Fishers Police Department at 1-317-595-3300 or the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-843-5678.
I'm muted. Fuck. Yes. So I was just saying the whole story about Hippie Chick. She sent me all the links, for some of the cases and stuff like that. She's known this girl since she was 10 years old. Hippie Chick did. It's very emotive for her. Obviously she's very sad, which makes me sad. I was going to cover it anyway, but now I know it's more, obviously close to heart to Hippie Chick. We all love Hippie Chick, so we will cover it. Also, this Hailey, this young girl, Hailey Buzbee, she is, her aunt lives next door to Hippie Chick as well. So very, very close to home for her. So I'm not going to say any more, but thanks to her, I know she's watching, so thanks to her for sending me everything about the case as well. But yeah, we will definitely be covering it. As I say, we're going to cover it anyway, but now I know it's close to home for Hippie Chick. We will 100% be covering it even more now. So that was the group. So I'm going to go backwards here a little bit. She was missing, but unfortunately, she's been found now dead. Her remains were found Sunday in Perry County, Ohio. So, God rest her soul. So, there she is, Hippie Chick. I didn't want to say too much, Hippie Chick. No, anything for you, my darling. You know that. I'll do anything for you, my hippie chick. I love hippie chick. So I'm going backwards here a little bit for you people. Hippie chick sent me this just to tell us that they have found her remains now as well. So Samuel Szymanski, the lawyer for Tyler Thomas, revealed on Monday today that Thomas led FBI officials to the remains of 17-year-old Hailey Buzbee on Sunday evening. So Thomas is the guy who's in court, which we'll go to in a second. Oh shit, hang on. Which we'll go to in a second now. This comes after Thomas had initial court hearings in Franklin County Court in Ohio Monday morning. Buzbee's remains were located in Perry County, which is southeast of Columbus. So, yeah. So God rest her soul. We'll take a moment to remember the life of Hailey Buzbee. So please take a moment to think of her. Okay. Such a beautiful young girl as well. Do you know what I mean? Such a waste of life. Right. So they have now found the remains. There's a petition. Whilst I'm going to cover other stuff on this, here is a petition that we encourage everybody here to please sign. Oh shit! Hang on. I need to make this. It won't let me post it. Let me put it into a tiny URL thing because it won't let me post it. Bear with me whilst I do this, people. So if you can all sign this petition, it is super, super important. Once I find that URL shortener. Shorten it, copy it. So here you go. Oh shit! This I'll post it here for you all now. I just done it in the URL, tiny URL. So if you click that, that is the petition. The petition is here. Pass Hailey's law, pink alert, and mandated grooming awareness education in schools. So it speaks about the issue. It goes into say about her history that she was lured away by this man. Online they had we'll go into it all now, but basically they want to create a pink alert system for missing persons and children when credible risk indicators exist. So yeah. So that this Hailey's law, basically. URL doesn't work. It works for me. Because it takes you, it works for me. Let me show you. There you go. I'll do it live again. I'll do it live again. So if I just go, where is it? So if I go to chat, if I click this tiny URL, it goes to that page, and I just go to site, and it takes me straight to it. And it's here. See here? Oh, why does it do that? Right, well, I'll do, look, if you just put in these words, it should take you to it. and I think that it'll be on, post it on Facebook group. It'll be on, if you become a member of this group, which I'm not a member of, but which I will now. I presume it's all in here as well. The link is too long for me to post it. Here you go. So just join that group, which I'll post again. So I'll post it again. So just join this group on Facebook, and it's all in there. So you can do that. That's the easiest way to do it. It's easier than me trying to do an URL group thingy. Right. So this is the presser that happened yesterday, or I believe yesterday, of the arrest. So we'll listen to this now.
Okay, it's 5 o'clock. Mayor Fadness?
Thank you, Angela. Thank you, everyone, for showing up this afternoon. You know, Fishers, for as long as I can remember, our name is synonymous with family and family values. And so it pains me today to let you know that after an extensive investigation, we feel that Hailey is deceased. And I want to talk about her primarily, and then we're going to have Chief Gephardt come up and talk about the details of the case. But I spent some time with the family this morning, along with Chief Gephardt, and their wishes were truly to express what an incredible human being Hailey was. She was a bright light in the family. She was a wonderful big sister. She had a tremendous amount of promise and hope. She was excited about moving on to university, and she was an incredible human being. And I know that her family is devastated currently, and I'm confident that our community will rally in the coming hours, days, and weeks to stand with that family in their grief and share in the burden of mending and healing from this tragic loss. I want to thank Chief Gephardt and the Fishers Police Department. I want to thank the FBI. I want to thank our other counterparts in law enforcement for their tireless work over the last 3 to 4 weeks to try to bring Hailey home. Unfortunately, with the evidence we have today, she will not be coming home alive, but we're still working diligently to bring closure to this case. With that, I want to ask Chief Gephardt to share some details of the investigation as we move forward. Chief Gephardt.
Thank you for being here. Unfortunately, this is tragic news for our community. Our detectives identified a suspect, 39-year-old Tyler Thomas of Ohio. Because of evidence obtained and the statements made by the suspect, the investigation is now moved to recovery efforts. On January 6th, we responded to the Buzbee residence. Her parents had reported that she had left overnight. Our officers and our detectives diligently began the process to locate her, using all of our resources available. Throughout the investigation, we were able to identify an unknown vehicle that had been in Hailey's neighborhood the night she had gone missing. Using technology, our detectives identified Thomas as the suspect she had left with. We made contact with him in Ohio, and he admitted to picking Hailey up at her home. He told us that he dropped her off on the side of the road in western Ohio. However, through continued investigations, his initial story was determined to be untrue. We continued to diligently work with the FBI, the Indiana State Police, and our Ohio partners, the Columbus Police Department and the Hocking County Sheriff's Office. And after further investigation, Columbus Police Department's homicide unit assisted in serving search warrants where more evidence was collected at the home and the vehicle he had picked Hailey up in. The investigation confirmed Hailey to be at the Thomas home in Columbus and at a short-term rental in Hocking County. The Hocking County Sheriff's Office served search warrants for the short-term rental property and coordinated the use of aerial drones, canine, and physical search techniques to try to find Hailey. Investigators from all agencies involved continue to search for Hailey. Hailey and her story have been shared nationwide. Between the tips that you have shared with us and the support that you have shown the community, or they've shown the family, we could not have asked for more from our community and beyond. This is not the outcome that any of us had wanted. We have connected her parents with resources that will help them, and we will stay committed to supporting her family through this tragic time. Hailey attended HSE High School, and we are working with the district to provide extra support for students that will be impacted by this devastating news. The suspect is in police custody in Ohio on charges associated with this case, but has not been charged with her murder at this time. This is an ongoing investigation that now continues in Ohio. We will continue to support those agencies and help with their investigation in any way possible. Our hearts are with her family, her friends, and our community as we try to get through this terrible time together. Next, we'll hear from Special Agent in charge of the FBI Indianapolis office, Tim O'Malley.
Afternoon. My name is Tim O'Malley. I'm the special agent in charge of the FBI's Indianapolis field office. This is truly a heartbreaking outcome. And there are no words that can ease the pain that Hailey's family is feeling. But on behalf of the entire FBI, I want to extend our deepest condolences to her family, to her friends, and all those who loved her. From the moment that FBI assistance was requested, we've been working closely with our partners at the Fishers PD and other law enforcement to locate Hailey and to find out what happened. Things that we've been doing since we became involved was offering technical assistance. We've been doing investigative work, analytical work, and I think above all, one of the things that we've been working on is the coordination with law enforcement in Ohio, since this case has tragically crossed into Ohio as well. So that's really what the FBI's involvement has been. While what I say today can never bring Hailey back, I do want everyone to know that the FBI is committed to pursuing justice and holding those accountable, those responsible accountable for what they did. We're committed to standing with this community and our law enforcement partners, and we're going to be there until the end. The one ask I have for everyone is just be patient as this investigation continues and the search for Hailey continues as well. So thank you.
If there are any questions, again, remember this is an active investigation, so there may be things we can't answer, but Special Agent O'Malley, if you would join the chief, and then if you have any questions for either of them.
Chief, can you indicate to us how your victim first encountered the suspect? Was it random? Was it planned?
He was here to pick her up.
And how did they first make contact with one another?
Through gaming online.
And were you able to utilize either cell phone or social media information in your investigation?
All of it, yes.
Can you explain how that was utilized?
I cannot.
Do you have an approximate date of her death?
Within a few days after she was picked up.
How close do you believe that you are to recovering Hailey's body?
It's ongoing.
So unclear right now?
Unclear.
At what point did at least the Ohio investigators first encounter your suspect?
We encountered the suspect. Fishers PD did.
And when was that? Like this weekend or 2 weeks ago?
Within days of her, her being missing.
And was the suspect at all cooperative?
Yes.
Can you explain to what extent?
I cannot.
Can you give us the name of the suspect again, and also any history of this happening before with Mr.
Tyler Thomas, and I have no history.
What other charges, if he's not facing a murder charge right now, what are the other charges he's being held on?
He's being held in the Franklin County, Ohio jail on 2 felonies, pandering obscenity and tampering with evidence. There's no bond set at this time.
Does he have a court date for an initial hearing?
Tomorrow.
What evidence, you can't say specific evidence, but what gave you an idea that Hailey was deceased?
Evidence that we obtained through the investigation of our detectives and statements that he had made.
At the house and in the vehicle?
We have evidence that obviously we know Hailey was at the house and in the short-term rental in Hocking County.
Have you been able to recover any of her personal items?
Not to my knowledge.
Thank you, everyone. We really appreciate your time with us this afternoon.
Okay, so thanks again to Hippie Chick. He had his bond hearing today, so we'll play that now. This is his bond hearing. Lovely. I'll explain to you a little bit. This is a case in Indiana. Very sad. Hello, Sally. I'm very well. Well,
All right, we have 2026 CRA, 1568, State of Ohio versus Tyler Thomas. Sir, you're charged with 1 count of F2 pandering, sexual-oriented material involving a minor, and an F3 tampering. Counsel, into your appearances, please.
Thank you, Judge Senior. Sam Kaminsky, Captain, Bart Lyman, on behalf of our finance pictures, videos from previously bond has been set by agreement over the weekend.
Thank you, Your Honor. Tiffany Colucci, 105168, on behalf of the state. This defendant, I do not have any prior history for this defendant. As Mr. Szymanski was about to say, this was discussed over the weekend. I believe Ms. Judge O'Grady was involved in that discussion. Mr. Szymanski had reached out to us, and we had agreed to a $1.5 million bond. The facts, there is a juvenile missing out of Indiana who was last known to be in the company of the defendant. A search warrant was executed at the defendant's home. Digital devices were seized and found to contain child sexual abuse material containing images of the juvenile. We do not have contact with a prosecuting witness in this case. There are no heinous law factors. The state would be requesting in addition, conditions of the bond, in addition to the $1.5 million, stay away from victim and any family members or next of kin, no unsupervised contact with minors, no internet usage.
Can you reply to all these conditions?
So just for clarity, this was over the weekend, it was an agreement of bond, that's what you were alluding to?
Your Honor, that's precisely what I'm alluding to, and we work closely with representatives from CPD Homicide Sergeant who lives here. I spoke with Dan Meyer this morning, and we collectively felt this was a fair way to proceed. The reality is, and I'll say it on the record with my client, is absolutely zero intention to make this bond. I spoke with Dan this morning, and I also indicated to the government we're seeking no bond situation. That would be fine. Everybody has thus far operated in good faith. We turned Mr. Thomas into authorities on Saturday. for the CPD homicide.
All right, so right now, the condition of any release, sir, you have no alcohol or drugs, no possession of firearms, no future acts of threats of violence. Stay away from the victim, your family members, and next of kin. Additionally, no internet access, no unsupervised visits with minors. As a condition of your, for the bond itself, we're gonna have a 1.5 cash surety, 1.5 million cash surety bond. Your prelim date is gonna be on 2/10. Thank you.
Process.
I was fucking muted. So it says here that the defendant, Thomas, led officials to the location of Buzbee's remains. So, you know, he's basically admitted to it. So I presume he's going to plead guilty to it. I don't... Well, chances are there probably won't be a trial, because they got enough evidence and he's led them to the body. And the only way you know where the body is if you committed it. So, unless he tries to pin it on somebody else, obviously. Right. So we'll still cover it, because obviously, you know what my feelings are with young children. She's 17 years old. It's a horrible case, and obviously the icing on it was the fact that it's hippie chick knows the girl, and I'll do anything for hippie chick. So we will keep on highlighting this. I am sure that it's based in Indiana/Ohio, so I'm sure Sean, potentially criminal, will also be covering this for sure, because it's in his jurisdiction, and I'm very confident people like Defense Diaries will probably be covering this as well. Mention this case to other streamers, whoever you do follow. Hopefully others will highlight it, because even if he does plead guilty to everything, we still need to highlight the petition and to get the law changed, because it will hopefully benefit everybody in the future. So so make sure you give this a shout out to other people out there. I'm not going to say any more about this, except for, rest in peace to Hailey. So, Hippie Chicken reached out to Melanie too. Yeah, I think if you can, reach out to Defense Diaries, because they're more likely to cover it than Melanie, because they like to do cases in Indiana, Ohio, because they're from Chicago, Illinois, and stuff like that. So that would be that would be also somebody I would target if I were you, or anyone that knows them. Ask them to look into it and cover it. But as I say, we'll see how the direction goes next on this. Okay. It's not a new mic, Dave. It's just we're on a new streaming platform. So I'm literally shouting right now into the mic. So I know some people are having difficulties hearing me, which is annoying. But I'm trying my best. So I don't know what I don't know what I can do. I'll try and play with it again. Okay, so I think we will cover the other trial. Let me see whether are they about to start or something. Let me have a look to see where we're at with it. But I'm not going to do it right now. It's because I got to have dinner with my family. But let's go into law and crime, see what they're saying there. So just for you to understand, 4 jurors have not turned up this morning because of the weather, I believe, not because they don't want to sit on the jury. And I believe that they will be doing opening statements once everyone is seated. And I believe there's 1 juror still missing. So I don't know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to end the stream here now. Hello, Nanny2. Hello, my darling. Hope you're doing well. What I'm going to do is end this stream now and come back around 2 o'clock Eastern. Maybe before then, but 2 o'clock Eastern, I will, as soon as I get off here, I will create another stream and I will cover the trial in Georgia. It is called Tara Baker, and the guy on trial is called Edric Faust for the murder of Tara Baker, who was a University of Georgia student, and she was killed in 2001. So, thank you, lovely. So, I will be back on at 2 o'clock Eastern, if not sooner. I'll create the stream now for 2 o'clock, and then we'll cover it. It'll probably be live in the next half an hour, maybe, but I'll come back and cover opening statements later on tonight, after dinner and everything like that. So, for now, I'll end the stream, and then we'll be back later on at 2 o'clock, just because I love most of you. So yeah, I will end it now, and then I'll see you all later on. Much love to you. Sending you big hugs, hippie chick. Sending you big hugs.
And I want to make sure that everyone who is here in the audience knows that there is to be no recording, no photographing or anything.
So they just gone live. So I mean, you can watch it live. It's on Law and Crime. I'm sure other streamers are covering it. But yeah, I'll be covering it from this point onwards in about a few hours. Okay, everybody, much love. Yeah, 2 o'clock Eastern, yeah. Maybe before then, but maybe 1:30. Between 1:30 and 2 o'clock Eastern, I will go live. I'll set it for 2 o'clock, but I might go live between 1:30 and 2 Eastern. I'll go live. Okay, everyone. Big hugs to Hippie Chick. Love you, girl. And I'll see you all later on.